You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
Hi, and welcome to the I Love This TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Noelle from pastasworld.com. Each season of this podcast will contain a TV show in full. This means the length of the season depends on the length of the TV show. The first season is, of course, The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, Season 2, Episode 14, The Actor. Sophia comes home in a raincoat. Dorothy asks her why she's wearing a raincoat. Sophia also has a saber under her raincoat. Dorothy then asks her to take the coat off. Dorothy: Ma, did you forget to take your blood pressure medicine again? Sophia: I got a job over at Captain Jack's seafood shanty. Apparently, she took the job because she needs the money. Dorothy is upset because she gives her an allowance. Then she forbids her to work there at her age. Blanche and Rose come home, and they are excited about their theater production. Blanche tells Dorothy they got a real actor, Patrick Vaughn. Dorothy is excited by this news. Dorothy: oh, I cannot believe I'm actually going to meet Patrick Vaughn. I've had a crush on him for years. He's the sexiest actor on TV. Rose: I hate to admit it, but he melts my Haagen-Dazs. Dorothy: Rose, you tramp. But the conversation stops, and Sophia flies by in her pirate outfit for work. Dorothy tells her she's not going. She makes a comment about it being over her dead body. So Sophia pulls out her saber and points it at Dorothy. Dorothy finally lets her leave. The girls are getting the dressing room ready for Patrick Vaughn. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. Dorothy opens it, welcoming Mr. Vaughn, but instead it's Sophia. She wants to meet him too, but Dorothy says no. Dorothy: you can't stay. Sophia: why? You're embarrassed by your own mother? Dorothy: when she's dressed like Vasco da Gama, yes. Before she can leave, Patrick Vaughn walks in. He kisses Dorothy's hand, and she loses it. Sophia introduces herself and informs him her stuttering daughter is a teacher. Dorothy regains her composure and throws Sophia out. Blanche introduces herself and Rose to Patrick Vaughn. The three start fighting over him. Dorothy: Rose, why don't we just show Mr. Vaughn around the theater? Blanche: well, why don't I just do that myself, since I've got the most experience performing here? Dorothy: Blanche, the parking lot doesn't count. I'll do it. Patrick doesn't have time now, though. He has to go work on a commercial. It's now audition time, and Dorothy is up first. Blanche and Rose laugh. She does an ad-lib that is quite raunchy. It's now Blanche's turn. She takes off her sweater to reveal bosoms that are quite large and definitely not hers. Patrick has trouble saying the right lines. He pulls her in for the kiss at the end of the scene, and her bosoms deflate loudly. Patrick: I'm afraid I popped your bosoms. Blanche: don't you worry about a thing, Patrick. My backup pair can take a lot more punishment. Dorothy tells her she made a fool of herself. Patrick announces the two roles. None of the girls got a speaking part. They make to leave, but Blanche forgets her purse and goes back. Patrick stops her and asks her out. She agrees. He kisses her, and she can't remember her name. She leaves, and Rose comes looking for her. Then Patrick talks to Rose. He asks Rose out, too, and she accepts. Rose exits, and Dorothy comes in looking for her. Patrick asks her out as well. Blanche arrives home with Patrick in tow. She flirts with him on the couch. Dorothy comes in and he rolls Blanche to the floor. He did not realize they were housemates. Patrick covers by saying there was a small stunt added. Blanche exits, and Patrick tries to cover by saying he was only there trying to see her. He starts kissing her, but the door opens and he tosses her to the ground. Dorothy tries to cover by saying she was looking for a contact. Patrick creates a story to go with it, and Rose believes him. He distracts Rose by kissing her. He manages to make an exit without blowing the fake stories any of them made up. It's now show night. Rose has brought a rose for Patrick, but Blanche takes it. Blanche gives it to Patrick right in front of Rose. Rose is annoyed. Patrick gets informed that Dorothy is now playing the sheriff. She's the only one who fits the costume. So Patrick takes Dorothy to read lines. Another woman comes looking for Patrick, but the conversation goes south when she reveals that she's been seeing Patrick since he came to town. Both Rose and Blanche say that Patrick's been seeing them. They are not happy. The play begins. Blanche and Rose start to argue in the town scenery. They get shushed. They start talking again. The two start discussing what Patrick told them. Discovering it was the same thing angers Blanche. She calls him a dirtbag in the middle of the play. Blanche covers. Dorothy comes around and yells at them. Blanche tells her what's been going on. Now Dorothy shouts he's a dirtbag and tells them that he's been seeing her too. The three gals are furious. Blanche decides to tell him off. Turns out that he took advantage of just about every woman in the town and in the cast. Blanche calls for a rope and Rose calls for a tree from props. He tries to play it off that he didn't hurt anyone. Dorothy, as the sheriff, kicks him out of town. They had all forgotten that they were in the middle of a live play. The leading lady gets everyone to take their bows as if it was the end of the show. The three return home very upset. Dorothy points out that she's upset about how she was treated by Patrick. Dorothy, we were talking about how humiliated we all were by Patrick. Rose, oh, you're right. I feel so common, so cheap, so used. How do you usually deal with that, Blanche? Blanche gives her a dirty look and then threatens to flush the toilet while she showers. Dorothy and Blanche start talking about how sexy and debonair he was. Dorothy waxes a bit poetic. Dorothy, he made me feel beautiful. Blanche, he made me feel young. Rose, he made me feel smart. Dorothy, God, what an actor. I'll be right back after a short break.
Favorite quotes. Dorothy. Ma, why are you wearing a raincoat? It's 85 degrees outside. Sophia. I had a chill. Dorothy. I have another question. Are you wearing a saber under your coat? Sophia. Yeah, I think it is. I'll see you later. Rose. I hate to admit it, but he melts my Haagen-Dazs. Dorothy. Rose, you tramp. Sophia. What, you're embarrassed by your own mother? Dorothy. When she's dressed like Vasco da Gama? Yes. Patrick. I'm afraid I popped your bosoms. Blanche. Don't you worry about a thing, Patrick. My backup pair can take a lot more punishment. Patrick. There's something I've wanted to ask you all day. Rose. Mine are real. Blanche. I'll tell you what time it is. It's time for a hanging. Somebody give me a rope. Rose. And a tree from props. All the ladies. Yeah. Blanche. You, sir, are nothing but a low-down, carpet-bagging scallywag, and as God is my witness, I will never shampoo your hair again. Rose. I feel so common, so cheap, so used. How do you usually deal with that, Blanche?
This episode just makes me laugh every single time I watch it. Now, Sophia working at the seafood shanty and having the whole pirate outfit and the saber on her belt. I mean, the saber alone looks like it's almost bigger than Sophia. And then Dorothy just being so, oh, no. You can't work there. And she gives her an allowance. You know, I would like to know what kind of an allowance Dorothy actually gives her. It also is kind of weird and kind of sad that as our parents get older, we stop treating them like parents and instead we treat them like children and give them an allowance. They're adults. An allowance doesn't really feel appropriate. Although I do love when Sophia stands up to Dorothy and basically pulls out the saber and is like, well, over your dead body, I'll make that happen, sure. And so she's finally allowed to go off to work and assert her own independence. Oh boy, the actor. Patrick Vaughn. And for the heck of it, I Googled Patrick Vaughn just to see what would come up. And the first two things that come up are from the Golden Girls, and the second is a picture of an actual actor named Patrick Vaughn who looks nothing like the guy that played Patrick Vaughn in this episode. But wow, talk about a playboy. I mean, that is a lot of women in that cast. And it seemed like he was like setting up 2-hour blocks. Because I know that with Dorothy, it was like a midnight block. I know it was 10 p.m. for Rose and it was 8 p.m. for Blanche. But when did he fit in all the rest of the cast that was in that play? I mean, when did he sleep? How much coffee did he have to drink to keep up with all of his activities? Whew, or how many, no, I don't know if they had little blue pills back in the 80s. But it's quite interesting. He just is like, who got hurt? Acting like there was no real problem. I mean, did he just assume everyone would think it was a fling? And then it's really creepy the fact that he pretty much gave every single woman the same set of lines. Like he just was running off a script with each one while he was using and abusing them. I don't know. His actions definitely disturb me in this episode towards the women of the play and the girls themselves. But at the same time, too, I don't know, it's just weird. The three of them are like fawning over him, and they're like so excited that he's coming to town. And sometimes that whole celebrity thing just tends to make you a little blind to the truth that might just be sitting right in front of you. Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This TV Show podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.